Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for cannabis.
Stop arresting patients! Stop arresting patients! Stop arresting patients!
Welcome to CMMNJ TV.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
I'm Ken Walski, Executive Director of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey. The mission of our organization is to educate the public about the benefits of marijuana. Marijuana is a safe, effective, and inexpensive therapeutic agent for a wide variety of diseases, symptoms, and conditions. No patient should suffer needlessly without it, and no patient should ever go to jail for following the advice of a doctor. Join us and learn more about the exciting science of medical marijuana. Welcome to CMMNJ TV. I'm Ken Walski, Executive Director of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey. I'm here in the Princeton Community TV studios today with Zoe Patchell from Delaware. Zoe is the co-chair of the Cannabis Bureau of Delaware. So thank you so much for coming up from Delaware today, Zoe.
Thank you, Ken, for having me. I'm so grateful.
Well, it's an honor to have you here, and we're so grateful for all the work that you're doing in Delaware, and actually in the whole region. I mean, you're not only in Delaware, but you're also you've been coming to Trenton. You've been coming to Trenton and to Philadelphia. I think I first met you in Philadelphia, actually,
yes.
at an event put on by Philly Normal some years ago.
Absolutely.
So, so tell me about this Cannabis Bureau of Delaware. Your work in Delaware, Zoe.
So the Cannabis Bureau of Delaware, it'll be around 4 years in December. We're a citizen advocacy group dedicated to advancing education, research, and science-based policy for cannabis and cannabinoids on a local, state, and federal level. We were established out of Delaware Normal, the Delaware Normal chapter, to be the legislative focus. In Delaware, we don't have voter initiative, so it's imperative that if we want to change the law, that we talk to elected officials. Being that Delaware did not have any lobbying organization for cannabis reform, we decided to come out of Delaware Normal to focus exclusively on the legislative issues, as well as trying to pass, be the first in the country to pass through the legislative process.
Legalization of marijuana. Well, that's great. That's great, Zoe. And so I was down, the last time I was in Delaware was Rehoboth Beach. You had an event there that was part of the Million Marijuana March.
Yes, thank you so much for coming down. We appreciate you coming to share your message and speak with us, and we really appreciate you traveling that far to help us out.
No, it was great. It was great, Zoe. I was glad to be able to do it. And one of the things I was impressed with at your rally there was the fact that you encouraged people to call their legislators right there at the rally. So tell me about that.
Yes, so we do call to actions with the Cannabis Bureau of Delaware. Like I said, due to the fact that we don't have voter initiative here in Delaware, the only way to change the law in Delaware is to contact elected officials, to contact your legislators. So that's a big aspect that we focus on. We have postcards to legislators, as well as calls to action through our Facebook and social media pages, as well as any of our events. We encourage anybody to please call their legislator. We also do street teams where we go out and we have like a binder that says, "Ask me about cannabis reform," and we get a lot of interest involved that way, and people come up to us, and then people that are interested, we try to get them to make phone calls into their legislators. We believe phone calls is the best way to approach this in Delaware.
Yeah. Now, do you also have cap whizzes, the kind of pre-written emails that people can send to their legislators?
Delaware Normal actually has a great pre-written email that you can, if you go to their website, delawarenormal.org, they have email that you can send straight to your legislator.
Oh, that's great. Coincidentally, our organization, the Coalition for Medical Marijuana, was an offshoot of New Jersey Normal. So Jim Miller and I met at a New Jersey Normal meeting, and that's where we founded the Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey back in 2002. So anyway, that's funny how that works.
Yes, I was actually one of the founding board members to Delaware Normal with Cynthia Ferguson.
Oh.
Cynthia Ferguson started Delaware Normal back in 2013 and put out a call to looking for a board, and I was the original communications director for that. And then, like I said, about 10 months into that, we realized that we were being lobbied against at Legislative Hall and opposed regularly. So we needed a strong voice, regular voice in Legislative Hall.
Now, of course, New Jersey and Delaware are two of the states that do not have initiative and referendum, so all legislation has to go through the legislature in both those states. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages to that. One of the advantages is that you can do it on a shoestring. Our organization never had very much money. We sell T-shirts to support ourselves and wristbands. I suppose that's pretty much the same with your organization. You work on a shoestring, and yet you can continue your process of educating the public and urging them to change the legislative process through the legislators.
Absolutely, yes. We actually don't sell anything right now to finance us. In fact, it's exclusively team finance. So we have a great dedicated team of board members that dedicate their time and money into making this happen. And fortunately, it doesn't cost a lot to show up at Legislative Hall and get a meeting with your representative or your senator, or make the phone calls and hit the streets and try to get other people to do that. So we are on a very small budget, considering that the state won't let us incorporate. So.
And it's kind of like a David and Goliath story too. When you look at the organizations like yours and mine, going up against decades of government misinformation that is very, highly funded by corporations that profit from marijuana being illegal. It's a daunting task, and it's surprising and very noteworthy. I think the successes that we have doing this.
Thank you so much. Yes, our biggest opposition in Delaware is law enforcement.
Law enforcement.
They're regularly coming out to oppose our legislation, including the decriminalization bill, as well as the medical cannabis bill that was passed in 2011. In fact, they had a pretty strong hold on that, where home cultivation was removed due to law enforcement interference. It was originally part of the 2011 bill, and it would significantly help the patients in Delaware right now if that had remained in the law. That's kind of one of the things that we're looking to do with a full legalization bill, is have home cultivation, so the patients that are suffering with these debilitating illnesses and restricted to just one dispensary in Delaware, as well as with no free market. I mean, you have quality issues, and as well as price issues and all kinds of things, and patients need that home cultivation.
Yes, home cultivation can be very empowering for patients. It guarantees access regardless of income, for one thing, and it certainly undercuts the prohibitively expensive marijuana that's available through corporations and even through the medical marijuana programs. How expensive is your medical marijuana in the medical marijuana program?
Well, I'm not a card holder, but I do know that it's above average street price in Delaware, as well as the fact that they're using street tactics to sell their cannabis, in terms of you can buy an ounce if they have it pre-packaged in an ounce form, but once that pre-packaged ounce supply runs out, patients are forced to buy eighths or even grams at full price, which is more than the ounce that they would have bought at the pre-packaged level. So they have to their eighths and their quarters are priced higher than if you were to buy 4 quarters, it would be more than 1 ounce. So.
Yeah, sure. Now, that's funny. I mean, I see here on the Delaware medical marijuana laws that the possession limit is 6 ounces.
Yes.
You can possess up to 6 ounces, but it has to be obtained through this alternative treatment center. Do you call it that, or do you call it a dispensary in Delaware?
Compassion Center in Delaware.
Compassion Center.
And also, their patients are restricted to a 3-ounce limit every 2 weeks. So it's pretty restrictive. And, we've heard that the quality of oils and edibles, or there is no edibles, I'm sorry, but the quality of oils and other products coming out of that dispensary aren't quite up to best standards and
Right.
practices for medical cannabis.
Yet it seems to be working a little better than New Jersey's program. I understand it looks here like you have 1,700 patients registered in Delaware for that one dispensary. Now we have about 6,000 patients available in New Jersey, but we have 9 times the population that Delaware has. You know, New Jersey has about 9 million. You have about 1 million in Delaware. So proportionately, you're getting a little better access in Delaware than we are in New Jersey with your medical marijuana law.
Yeah, unfortunately, patients right now, because there's only one dispensary, the 2011 medical cannabis law stated one dispensary in each county, but it was immediately suspended by the governor for fear of federal reprisal, though we know that that's not a valid reason, you know, with the federal 8 areas and concerns, as well as you know, the funding bills that have completely defunded the DEA from interfering into medical cannabis states. So it's completely unfounded that that this program would still be blocked. So basically, patients, unfortunately, this dispensary isn't centrally located in Delaware, and Delaware's a small state, but it's still rather large.
Right.
You know, one way down the state could be 80 to 100 miles. So patients that are located in the Sussex and Kent counties are having to drive seriously far to obtain their non-toxic medicine when medicine that's highly addictive and very harmful is right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
As well as the fact that the medical program only qualifies debilitating illnesses. So you're talking about people that are seriously sick having to drive very far in a vehicle for, you know, we work with this one patient that has to drive 80 miles one way. So that's 160 miles every time he has to go to the dispensary. Plus there's the restrictions on how much he's allowed to purchase, as well as the fact that often when patients get to the dispensary, they're sold out of the better quality cannabis or the strains that they need, or they're subjected to having to buy 8/8 at an inflated price. So we have a lot of problems in Delaware about the medical cannabis program. There's actually a lawsuit to urge the state to fully implement the 2011 law as written, and that lawsuit is in fear of being dismissed this Friday. So there's actually a court action October 21st at Sussex Superior Court in Delaware at 11 a.m. and we're asking all patients to please show up, courtroom solidarity, for the medical cannabis program to get these other 2 dispensaries open. The program did issue an RFP for these other dispensaries, but they're still dragging their feet with it. We were just at the oversight committee last week where they stated that the Sussex location would not even be open till sometime next year around this time. So considering that the law mandated one dispensary in each county by 2013, and we're looking at 2017 for these other dispensaries to even open, it's appalling.
Yeah, really, it does sound terrible. The Compassion Center is in Wilmington?
Yes.
Yeah, that's at the top northeast part of the state.
It's at the very tip top of the state. It's really a shame.
So one of the responses to this was the decriminalization law that passed in Delaware. So tell us about that. You have one. You were active in that, obviously, and getting that working. And how's that working?
So decriminalization passed last June. It went into effect December 18th of 2015. And while it is a very good step, you know, we ended some of the arrests. It definitely doesn't you know, remove the illicit market, as well as many other problems associated with cannabis prohibition. But it's a good first step, and we appreciate that. It only covers 1 ounce of, they say, flower cannabis, and it doesn't include edibles or hash or any oils, so those are still subject to misdemeanor arrest, as well as the fact that smoking in public is still a misdemeanor arrest. And prior to the decriminalization laws, we had some pretty harsh laws. So one of the 4th harshest in the country, according to the Marijuana Policy Project.
Yeah, that so it still criminalizes the production and distribution of marijuana, which they say if you get caught with it, is there a fine or anything along with this decrim?
Yes, sorry. It's a $100 fine for an ounce or under. But the fact of the matter is that we're hearing that people are still being arrested for this. I actually had a friend of mine whose house was raided for some seeds and stems, which doesn't make a lot of sense, and as well as the fact that people in vehicles are being arrested not for smoking, but just carrying the product in their car. The police have found a nice little handy loophole around the decriminalization law and are still arresting people for transporting cannabis, not a DUI, but just transporting cannabis in their vehicle. And a lot of the people that we talk to that are subject to this arrest are African American. And in Delaware, African Americans are 3 times more likely to be arrested despite similar usage amongst races. And we're still seeing that with decriminalization. Basically, the only way to go is full legalization, all adults 21 and older. We believe that's how it will help the medical program, it'll eliminate the illicit market, it will create economic development, continue revenue source, employment opportunities for Delaware, as well as the fact that nobody should be going to jail for a plant or face any prosecution whatsoever.
God bless you. So what are the prospects for this? How are you doing with the legalization proposal in Delaware?
So we are doing fairly well. We just gained bipartisan support in the Senate. We have Senator Bonini, a Republican gubernatorial candidate, in full favor of this, as well as at the Oversight Committee last week, Senator Margaret Rose Henry has come out in full support of this, saying that she will introduce a bill in January. And she's been one of our biggest contributors to all cannabis legislation in Delaware. She's one of our champions, and we really appreciate all the help she's been doing to get people safe access. So we're looking forward to being the first state in the entire country to pass through the legislative process.
So, and how difficult was it to get the decrim bill passed? That went through the legislature too.
Yes.
Was there a pretty resounding support in the legislature for that?
It passed with overwhelming support completely on party lines. So the Democrats all supported the bill, the Republicans opposed the bill. And it was met with some challenges. The original bill was a lot better than the bill that was passed. And then, like I said, law enforcement got involved, and they opposed a number of the different things in the bill. And our sponsor, Representative Keeley, kind of made some concessions with some of those things, and we really lost out on a good bill. And even more reason to try for full legalization in 2017 rather.
Well, that's great. Here in New Jersey, we're looking at 2018. Our governor is out of office by then, and we're looking for a new governor in 2018. And I think that we're looking to gather legislative and community support for legalization in New Jersey in 2018. And it's be terrific if you could do it in 2017, Zoe, in Delaware. The actions of our states really have a tremendous ripple effect in the entire region. For example, when our bill, the Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act, passed in 2009, just in the Senate, that's when there was an explosion of interest in medical marijuana in the entire region. The Pennsylvania bill was introduced shortly after that, and the Delaware bill was introduced shortly after that. If you can lead the way in Delaware, the first state, that would really be terrific.
I also want to mention that this lawsuit that we have for the medical cannabis program was inspired completely by you, Ken. In fact, the work that you're doing in Jersey inspired that. And I believe, I don't know if you remember, but the first time I met you, I had asked you about the lawsuit here in Jersey, and that's where the inspiration came to do this.
Yeah,
so.
that's great. We've had a number of lawsuits actually, but none of them have been successful. Only one very minor success we actually got. We forced the Department of Health to produce reports that they should have reported. They should have produced anyway. But for the most part, the courts have been a tough way to go. They tend to give a tremendous amount of deference to these executive branch agencies that develop these programs. For example, your health department developed the medicinal marijuana program. So the courts tend to defer to these expert agencies, so.
Yes, actually, the lawsuit that we have in Delaware is actually an appeal process, so I understand exactly what you're saying. We have some great patients championing along that lawsuit, Todd Boone and Trevor Weiberg, so we're grateful that they're seeing it through the appeal process, and hopefully it won't be dismissed on Friday.
Well, certainly wish you a lot of luck with that, and with your plans for legalization of marijuana in Delaware. That would really be a tremendous coup. So you're continuing your efforts to educate the public. I see you appearing on television shows in Delaware, and you have a series of are they community roundtables or
Yes.
community affairs that you're having there?
Yes, we actually have a series of town halls scheduled. Our first one is October 25th. That's next Tuesday at the Camden VFW. And we have speakers such as Neil Franklin, Sarah Vargas, Tom Donovan, who's an attorney in Dover, Kim Petters, who's a veteran, speaking on that panel. And we're very excited about that. That's next Tuesday, as well as our next town hall is scheduled for November 17th at the Police Athletic League in Wilmington. And then we'll also continue that conversation through December and January. We have Repeal Day Rally scheduled for December 4th. That's a Sunday.
Repeal Day Rally.
Yes. We use that date. It's the date that alcohol prohibition was repealed. It's actually December 5th, but December 5th falls on a Monday this year, so we moved it back a day to Sunday.
December 4th.
Yes, December 4th. And then we're going to have Lobby Day in January, and hopefully get this bill introduced in January and have some good legislation.
Well, that's great. It certainly is. You certainly have a great deal of activities planned for education for the general public and for the legislators. That really is the key, I think, to bringing about legalization. It's not only for the patients. It certainly helps patients in a great many ways. It takes it from a prescription drug to an over-the-counter drug if you allow it for anyone 21 and over, just like buying a bottle of Tylenol, and actually safer than buying a bottle of Tylenol. But you also undo the harms that are associated with the current policy of prohibition. You mentioned before the racial disparity in arrests. We see that same racial disparity in New Jersey, where blacks are 3 times more likely to be arrested than whites, and just the tremendous civil penalties that go along with the criminal penalties.
Exactly.
As Neil Franklin once said, you can get over an addiction, but you never get over a conviction. So, these civil penalties can follow somebody for the rest of their lives and have a tremendous impact on education and housing and employment.
Absolutely.
For a simple cannabis arrest. And when we get this message out to the public, I think that the public will be receptive to it, Zoe. So thank you so much for your efforts in Delaware and your efforts regionally. You're doing great work.
Thank you for all you're doing here at Inspiring Force. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
For more information about the Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey, join us at our free public meetings on the second Tuesday of every month at the Lawrence Township Library in Mercer County, New Jersey, from 7 to 9 p.m. Snacks are served and all are welcome. Remember, every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, somebody's arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone's arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, somebody is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Cada 42 segundos está uno arrestado por marihuana.
Every 42 seconds, somebody is arrested for.
Every 42 seconds, someone in this country is arrested for marijuana.
Chaque 42 secondes, il y a arrêté un monde pour marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana. It could be you.
Let me show you how to do. Going through popping, get a brick and bake We're here at the INE tour in Parsippany, and today's a very serious day. We're here to talk to the police about PTSD and the Kuma guidelines, and if we can smoke marijuana here in their smoking area. Wish us luck. Peace.
We're starting each trip in the bathroom, as did Brian Wilson during his epic journey to Colorado as an American refugee. Thank you, Brian.
How are you?
Hi.
Hey, you. It's my service dog.
Oh, so cute.
Thank you.
Did you have a question?
I'm
Yes.
Don Parkwood. I'm
Nice
a
to
veteran,
meet you.
disabled veteran.
Okay.
Yes. My name's Lefty Grimes.
Nice to
I'm
meet
a medical marijuana patient here in New
Okay.
Jersey. There's no breathe easy zone here, so can we use our medical marijuana here? Is that?
You can.
I don't have a card, but
Gotcha.
I am PTSD is getting ready to pass the assembly to be added to the list.
Okay.
And we're lobbying. I'm lobbying with him. He's already a patient, but I'd like to become a patient.
Okay.
So that's what I want to educate. He wants to educate you on the
On the,
law.
yeah, the Kuma guidelines. I think I have a feeling she has a clue what the Kuma guidelines
Oh,
are.
I absolutely do.
Yeah,
and
see.
obviously, you know, you can certainly smoke your prescribed medical marijuana anywhere that it is absolutely legal to smoke.
And there he goes, firing up right in front of the cop department. I love this, man. Peace, love, and happiness.
It's a taste of freedom. Smoking legal cannabis. Parsippany. INE tour, baby. That was the easiest INE tour we ever did.
Unbelievable.
That was cake.
She came right out and said, I know all about it. That's the kind of people we like.
Love cops like that. I love cops like that. That's what we want.
Well, I forgot her name. You got her name?
Cristiano. And I bet she can kick your ass.
I bet you.
I bet she'd f*** you up.
I know. She was big. She was a tall girl.
She'd probably go right for your
In
balls,
shape.
right for your throat.
In
eyes.
shape. Yeah. You know what? I'd screw around with some big guys, but I don't know if I'd screw around with her. For her to be where she is, she's got to be tough. Tougher than a guy.
Yeah, yes. Prove herself. Even
She's got to
harder.
prove herself. The guys ain't easy on her.
No. So she probably has all kinds of like
Yeah,
shooting
she's a
skills,
tough.
bazookas, whatever. She can do it all.
She's tough. She's for sure tough. You can see it in her too. Stoic.
I like that.
Yeah. All business. Good. Fine. That's what it should be.